What's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of UnSKripted, one of my favorite shows of the week. We're going to have a great time. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce, man, whatever title you want to put on him. As far as former champion, he's been that just about, man. I'll just give him former WCW United States champion. How about that? And many, many other title holders, titles that's been under his on his belt, under his repertoire. Konnan, how are you tonight, sir?
Yo, what's up, man? Your name is Dr. Chris Featherstone, right?
That's me. Yes.
Is that like a native? Are you into Native Americans or something like that? That sounds like a
yeah. So
yeah.
So the Featherstone family does trace. I'm African American, but the Featherstone family does trace back to Native American roots. Yep, absolutely.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, absolutely. How you doing, man?
Just chilling, man. Just waiting to conversate whatever you want to talk about.
Good stuff. Well, this is a live Q&A, and so we're going to jump right into the questions. We'll start with Guillermo, starting with what is your opinion on Dominik Mysterio in-ring work, and do you think he has a future in WWE?
Yeah, 1,000%, because when we first started training Dominic, I was helping Rey Mysterio. He had just decided he wanted to be a wrestler like a couple months before. It wasn't really something he wanted to do. And I was like, bro, I told him, you may be very disappointed. He may be really bad, but we'll help him. We'll help him get better. Mm-hmm. But the first day he trained, he was doing stuff that most people do not do in their first day of training. And Ray was looking at me and I was like, bro, I think this guy's a natural. Mm-hmm. So he really picked up everything quick. And one of the things that I spoke to Ray about was, could you imagine? Because when Rey Mysterio debuted in WCW, he'd already been wrestling like 10 years, mm-hmm. even though he was very young. And that was Dominic's first match, pay-per-view on top. I was like, bro, can you imagine how nervous we would have been? And he goes, yeah, I don't know how he did it. So he's very special, man. And plus he's a real good kid, he's very humble and very appreciative and just a very good person.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start with, let's do Elvis. Hello there, Mr. Konnan. How was LWO formed and who pitched the idea? What was Eddie like? Always loved you.
I don't know whose idea the LWO was, but originally I was going to be the leader of the LWO, but then they put me into the Wolf Pack. So then Eddie got a chance to do it. And I think that's when Eddie broke out, because he was really never known as having a lot of personality. And, he was always the wrestler. That was Eddie's role usually.
Yeah.
And now he showed personality for the first time. He was funny, and it was good for him. I don't know whose idea it was, LWO. And Eddie was like a brother to me. I loved him very much. I mean, we just had a lot of similarities because, I was living at that time in San Diego, which is a border town with Tijuana. And he was living in El Paso, which is a border town with Juarez. And he would come to Tijuana to wrestle, and I would go to Juarez to wrestle. And we were bilingual. And, so we hung out all the time, like we were brothers. And Eddie was incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, who was it? Eric's idea, Bischoff's idea to put you in the Wolfpack, or Kevin Nash? Or
Nash.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's go with Victor. What up, Chris? What's up, Kdog? It was kind of weird watching LAX Kdog as manager to Santana Ortiz to Puerto Rican wrestlers. That being said, would you be interested in managing Lucha Brothers in AEW?
Oh yeah, any of the guys that I've worked with, Jack and Angelico, who I worked with a lot in Mexico, LAX, or the Lucha Brothers. I would love to do anything with those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Ablash, how was Goldberg backstage in WCW? Did his demeanor ever gave a vibe that success went to his head?
A little bit, I think when you get that super mass popularity like he did, as quick as he did, and people start treating you different, you start thinking of yourself different. So yeah, it did get a little bit to his head. He was much more humble when he first came in, but he also had a lot of guys that were kind of, trying to knock him off the pedestal. So he was paranoid at the same time.
Yeah.
But I always got along with Goldberg.
Yeah, it was a very, very quick and meteoric rise. Were anybody jealous of his rise compared to?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they were. Yeah, and that's why they were messing with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but he was very special. I mean, people were chanting his name, and he was getting over, and and that breeds jealousy. It's a very competitive thing. You have guys with big egos, guys that are competitive.
Yep.
It's a Shark Tank, and that's what you're living in. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And him growing up a wrestling fan, he had no idea what the fuck he was what he was walking into.
Yeah. Mounty's asking, were you still under contract with WCW after WWE takeover, and why didn't you appear in WWE afterwards?
I had kind of a reputation of being very hard to deal with, so I think that hurt me going over there.
Got you. Rohi's asking, have you feel like Dominik Mysterio has taken a backseat in WWE despite getting so much attention ahead of SummerSlam 2020?
That's cool. They weren't going to keep him on top forever. And, it's good for him to, what they're doing with him. They're building him back up is what I think they're doing,
Yeah. Do you think it was too quick of a rise for him in the beginning, or do you think they should have you like how they just kind of thrust him in there?
Well, I wouldn't have done that myself, but they did do it. And if they're telling you to do it, if it isn't you, it's going to be somebody else. You take advantage of it. Like me, when I came to Mexico, I was also a guy that didn't grow up wanting to be a wrestler. So I didn't even know who these guys were. So I'm in Mexico. I'm new. I don't know who they are. And like 1 year, I had a meteoric rise too, which brought upon a ton of jealousy. But it was like, well, I'm going to take advantage of this push, and I'm going to make sure that you see that you made the right investment in me, And but every now and then you're going to see a Goldberg or or somebody like a Dominic or somebody that they, what I'm saying, or like they're doing with Kevin Cross in NXT. That guy that just fast tracks them because they think they have something special. I don't know if maybe Vince saw in Dominic, a kid that he knew when he was very little, and he's trying to kind of get a younger face out there to attract younger viewers. He saw something on him, and you know what? I mean, you can say that I'm biased, but I would also keep it 100. I thought he passed with flying colors, Dominic.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep it 100, no pun intended. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I mean, you got to strike while the iron's hot,
Right.
and he had, he has the look, he has the legacy, behind him. And so, you might as well capitalize on it. Yeah.
And he didn't drop the ball, and a lot of bad things could have happened, bro. He was a rookie. That's his first match. His second match, his third match were all on TV,
Yeah.
Big time matches. That's a lot of pressure, and I thought he handled it well.
And it was at SummerSlam, the second
Yeah.
biggest pay-per-view of the year. That's a huge
Right.
stage to step on. And even before that, a year before when Ray and Goldberg were feuding against each other, he had that spot, there, and he
With
didn't
Brock.
drop the ball either with Brock. Yeah.
Yeah.
With Brock Lesnar. Yeah. How was it like wrestling with Benoit, and how was he like backstage?
Well, I knew Benoit from very, very early in my career from Canada. Then I met him in Mexico, and then I met him in WCW. So I'd known him a very long time. When you were wrestling Benoit, it was a war, because I remember going to New Japan, and bro, we literally beat, the stuffing out of each other, like Japan style, slaps to the face, German suplex off the third. I mean, we just beat each other up. And I was like, yo, bro, like the next day, whatever the city we were in, I was like, yeah, we might want to do 50% of that. He goes, oh, no, we're going to have the exact same match.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my God. And you had to have it, because if not, he was going to make you have it. But I got along with Benoit. I did consider him a friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Rizu's asking, tell us how the appearance with the Inner Circle happened on Dynamite recently.
Jericho reached out to me, and he just told me, hey, did you want to do something? And LAX is going to be in it. And then I also worked with Sammy Guevara in Mexico, so he's one of my boys. And I got along great with MJF and MLW. So I think the only guy, and I think I didn't know Wardlow and the other guy, Swagger. And I met them, and they were incredible. So I had a fun time. Yeah, that was Jericho. And Jericho is a guy that's kind of producing everything there. And you can tell MJF is like a sponge, picking up everything Jericho's doing, because MJF's going to be like Jericho. He's going to be a beast.
Yeah. How was it working? And even you work with MJF and MLW too, right? So you had some time with them there.
Yeah.
How involved were you with Lucha Underground? I enjoyed that show, and the production quality could have come back in some capacity.
Well, what I did in Lucha Underground is I recommended a lot of talent, and also I was an agent backstage. So that's what I did in Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
Could it come back in some capacity? Doesn't look like it.
No, it doesn't. Speaking of Lucha Underground, Prince Puma, Ricochet, he was a big name there, and WWE's not using him very well at all. What are your thoughts on Ricochet's use in WWE right now?
What a shame, bro. One of the most talented guys I've ever seen. I remember I used to actually tell him in Lucha Underground, I go, bro, you're holding so much back. Go out there and show your greatness. And he's incredible. I mean, incredible. And it's sad, because if you were to tell somebody, hey, probably the greatest high flying wrestler right now is either Ricochet or Will Ospreay, right? And you were to watch him in WWE, you'd never know how great Ricochet is.
Yeah.
How could you miss the boat on him? Plus, he's like a good looking guy. When he was Lucha Underground, we used to have like these little parties up on the roof of the hotel, and he was always dancing. Girls liked him. Like, he reminded me kind of like a Chris Brown type character. You know what I'm saying? They're definitely missing the boat on him. And bro, look at that ridiculous finish they just had on Raw between him and AJ Styles.
Yeah.
But AJ Styles respects Ricochet, and he wanted to have a good match with him, just like Bryan Danielson, who just put over Cesaro because the company doesn't see what we all see. This guy's incredible, and he did a job for him, bro.
Yeah.
And the week before, he did it with Nakamura.
Yeah. Rizu's asking, would Sting have worked as a third member of the NWO?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Hogan Sting's my all-time favorite, but I'm glad he never joined the NWO as far as that black and white. I mean, he did that Wolfpack stint, which I didn't really like. Right. But I think overall, in the grander scheme of things, I think Hogan was a much better choice than the rumored Sting choice. So what do you think?
Yeah, I do think Hogan was a better choice, because people were already booing him.
Yeah.
And so it was like, bro, you need to change because you're the top baby face and people don't like you anymore because they're tired of you being on top so long. And his act had kind of gotten old. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
This refreshed him. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because Nash and Hall were legitimately two cool guys at that time on the mic.
Yep.
Everybody dug them. They were like rock stars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he was smart and they were smart.
Yeah.
You know, and
I agree.
yeah, so that was very well done. And I think the reason, just so you know, why the Wolfpack like Sting and Luger, because those were strong names. Macho Man, Nash. I was the only guy that didn't have a real strong name. But the reason that was packed like that kind of made no sense a little bit, was because we were supposed to have a showdown with the NWO, red and black versus black and white, and it never happened. Hogan, I think, ixnayed it, and he rather do a program with Ric Flair. So that's why we were building that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah. I'm friends with Eric Bischoff, and I've interviewed him a bunch of times. He mentioned that there was supposed to be an Ultimate Showdown, but he didn't say the reason why it was nixed. So Hogan was the one. Yeah. The Max Moon gimmick was originally planned for you. Was that the reason you didn't join WWE or not?
The Max? Oh, no. That was actually my idea. I had actually seen it in Japan, and I had told Vince McMahon about it, and he liked the idea, because it was really for kids. It was this robot that basically shot confetti, fire, and then we were going to do a thing where it was actually going to fly. We were going to put a jetpack on it. It was going to fly from the entrance to the ring. So, and it was just for kids, you know what I'm saying? And it would have worked, but the thing is that they, I lived in Mexico, and they were making the outfit in LA. And for example, I'd have to go to LA, pick up all these boxes, right? And then we'd fly, like, let's say to Boston, right? Unload all the boxes. Maybe had to drive to like Cape Cod or something, put the box in another car, and it was just a pain in the ass. And at that time, I was blowing up in Mexico in this soap opera. So I just stopped showing up for tapings. I just basically fired myself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Did Vince ever get back with you, or did he ever contact you of why you left?
No, he never did. And I did see him a couple times backstage, and he just shook my hand. Yeah.
Got you. How was it to work with Vince the time you were there? Was it easy or was it difficult?
He was real cool with me, very cool with me. And because, I was new to the business, he really didn't know me, and we had really good rapport. But it was funny because I do remember one time, and this is so wild, they used to have these little soundproof rooms where you would do interviews. Yeah, I'm going to Connecticut this week, and and next week I'm going to see you in Virginia or wherever. But they were like regionalized things, and it was like really late at night. And I remember Ultimate Warrior was coming out of the soundproof, and he was saying, "F this, F that. I'm not doing it. It's too late." And Mitch was going, "Whatever you want. Yeah, just calm down. Whatever you need. If you want to, we can do it late tomorrow." And I was like, "Wow, how much money must Ultimate Warrior be making for Vince?"
Yeah.
That Vince was kind of like, whatever you need, calm down, and he was just going off,
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that works nowadays, because it just seems like WWE just has a blanket over everybody and no one can say anything.
Right.
As opposed to beforehand, you got a lot of people with stroke because they were bringing in a lot of money. You know what I mean? Right. So I wonder if that's kind of influenced WWE to be more of a kind of, not really tyrannical in a sense, but in a sense, yes. You know what I mean? Kind of like just having a grip on everybody's character because of that.
Yeah. Well, what is the question?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Your thoughts on? I wonder if people nowadays in WWE has had a grip. The way that they grip characters. I wonder why. Your thoughts on if that's been influenced by the Ultimate Warriors and the Hogans back 20 so years ago, having so much control over Vince because they were making so much money.
Yeah, there could be a component to that. You know what I'm saying? Because when you give one guy too much power, he can do a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What's your favorite opponent that you've ever faced, and thoughts on Benoit's son wanting to wrestle?
I don't have one, so I have to throw a couple in there. In Mexico, definitely Perro Aguayo and Cien Caras, because I made a lot of money with those guys. Jake the Snake Roberts. And then in the United States, and also in Mexico, Eddie Guerrero and Love Machine. In the United States, Chris Benoit. I loved working with my boy Disco. Those are the first ones that come to mind.
Got it. Prete is asking thoughts on Alexa Bliss throwing a fireball at Randy Orton and where the storyline is going.
I wouldn't even call that a fireball. That was more like I don't know. It just was like, you know what I'm saying? To me, a ball.
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to love the Funhouse. I just thought it was great, thinking outside the box, the puppets, the bipolarity of of the Fiend and Bray Wyatt and all that. Then they brought Alexa Bliss in, and she was good at the beginning, and now this has turned a really hard to suspend disbelief.
Yeah.
Or even, they're starting to lose me.
I agree. Yeah.
I think this went off the rails.
Yeah. Starting to get a little hokey to me.
Right.
Like there was some believability in the storyline. Right. There was it was riveting in the beginning.
Right.
But now it's just seemed like too circus.
Because I was able to think, all right, within the WWE universe, there's a sub-universe, which is this Funhouse.
Yeah.
So I understand this is the fantasy part, and I'll suspend disbelief for that.
Yeah.
But now it has gotten hokey, kind of corny in it, and I almost think they don't even know where they're going. And if they do, so far it's not the last month, I think, has not been that good.
Yeah, I agree. Harold's asking, what's your take on AEW and Impact working together?
Bro, that's incredible. I'm so happy. There was some heat between AEW and Impact before, and to me, and this is, I've talked to this with just about every company. I do talk about it with every company I go to. It's like, we all need to work together. We all need to work together instead of fighting over crumbs. Let's put a big piece of pie. But there's so much, it's mostly ego and paranoia, and that's basically it. So I'm glad that AEW and Impact are working together. Hopefully they'll show other people that working together is in the best interest of everybody. Why? Because of fancy, fresh matchups. Fresh matchups could increase the gate, which means more money for the promotions. The fans get variety, dream matches that they hadn't seen before. The wrestlers get to wrestle somebody different, not the same old people. So everywhere you look, all around, it's a win-win-win-win-win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It seems like WWE is the only company that hasn't really worked with anybody. I mean, New Japan's worked with the ROH. ROH works with
but it's like everybody outside of WWE should be working together, because there's such a giant behemoth.
Yeah.
They don't need anybody. They just do their own thing. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about anybody else, right?
Yeah.
But everybody else should kind of be working together and helping each other out where you can.
Yeah, I agree. Did you make the rap for your own video? Did you write the rap for your own video?
It depends what video it was. Usually I wrote it with my boy Matt One, or he would write stuff for me when I didn't write it myself with him.
Got it. Prete's asking, what are your thoughts on Roman Reigns facing Kevin Owens again? Would a match against Adam Pearce have been a better idea?
I was actually looking forward to being against Adam Pearce, because I thought it would be a really good match and people would really be into Adam Pearce as a guy underneath that hadn't wrestled in 6 years. And then maybe something happens where Roman and Uso are beating him up and maybe open him up or something. Then Kevin Owens comes out and helps him, and now we have a tag team match or something. Yeah. And I did kind of like the idea where, Pearce signed the last standing match thing, and then he faked an injury and he said, oh, well, Kevin Owens is going to fight you. But I would have rather had Pearce fight Roman and have Kevin Owens come out, and then maybe have a tag team match.
Yeah.
But because I don't think, Kevin Owens is going to beat Roman for the title. So that already takes me a little bit out of the match.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree, because even if they would have done the whole signing thing, I wish they would have done it at the Royal Rumble. If that was the plan, like you've already gave us 2 weeks of just saying, oh, it's just Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns again. I think they should have just milked this a little bit more and did that at the Royal Rumble.
But you know what I love about the Roman Reigns character, because he's so great at it. I love the mind games that he always has to have control. And I like when he said, I want, when Paulie took out the seat for him, and he goes, no, I want his seat. He made him get up. Jay, get your ass up. Really, Roman, Jay, and Paulie have been incredible.
Yeah. Let's see. Got a couple more. Let me find a couple more good ones for you. All right, here we go. Mike is asking, do you think if and when Triple H takes over WWE, the product will change for the better, or is it a point of no return at this point?
NXT is such a well-done show, produced show, great matches, great eye for talent, and he's running that. So I think that it would change for the better.
Yeah.
I think Triple H knows what they need.
Yeah. And he's a fan of this. He's a fan of the business too. He watches old tapes of, Crippler Ray Stevens and old school, tapes.
Hell of a deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So as an NWO member, what do you think of today's talent too sweeting everyone? That's a good question.
That's great. I love it. I like that they're showing props to the old school guys that were doing it with a lot of entertainment and swag. And like, I love when I see Ric Flair and Amigos video, or with Bad Bunny, or I see Booker T with Bad Bunny, or I see, Sasha and the Mandalorian. Like when we're put on, I get really happy because we're so talented,
Yeah. To piggyback off of that, what are your thoughts on just moves kind of being just kind of overdone, like super kicks, and like everybody does the Canadian Destroyer now? That was a big thing with P.D. Williams, but everybody does it now. What are your thoughts on that?
I think what happened is that before, when you went into a dressing room, you had guys that had been in the business for like 10 years before they made it to any big company. You know what I'm saying? And now, since there aren't territories anymore, you're getting people that have been in the business 2-3 years. And even if they've been in the business longer, they've been on the indie scene, and they pick up a lot of bad habits.
Yeah.
They're trying to hear, please come back. You're awesome. This is wrestling, fight forever, all that. They're trying to get chants. And so, part of those chants, they know that when they slap their leg, the people are going to go, woo. And they overdo everything. They copy everything. Everybody sees what works, and the leg slap gets over, that gets a pop, I'm going to do it. And then everybody's doing it, Oh, the Canadian Destroyer gets a pop, I'm going to do it. But you got 80, you know what I'm saying? They're all doing the same thing, and you got to be original and different. And, it's definitely overdone, and it's on the promotions to talk to the talent. Yep. That's a conversation I have to have in AAA in Mexico, because we're starting to have that problem, because that came from Mexico, believe it or not.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Last question. Let me see. This other thing's a good question too. Let's do this one. How is it working with Master P and WCW and being part of the No Limit Soldiers?
Yo, I love that. I love that because I listen to Master P music, and it was funny. The guy that put me onto it is probably, this guy was a real G, was Yokozuna, and he was like, yo, this is what I listen to. You got to listen to this. And I started to listen to it, that New Orleans sound that was so raw and different. And, so meeting him was incredible. He's such a genius. He has a great mind for the business. And it was great meeting Master P and working with him. He was a very intelligent guy.
Yeah. So lastly, what's next for Kdog?
I'm just doing my thing, man. Just working in MLW, Impact, AAA, a whole bunch of other places, keeping busy. I'm a workaholic. I just like to keep busy, and I'm trying to get back in shape because I want to do a retirement tour and have my last match all over Mexico and maybe some selected cities, in the US. So I just started that last month. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And if you have a little bit of time left, can you close with a Scott Steiner story?
Scott Steiner, oh my God. I don't know if there's anything that I could say that wouldn't get me in trouble. Let me see. Yeah, I don't have anything that I think I can say. Yes.
That says a lot.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That alone says a lot.
He never gave any Fs on that one.
Mm-hmm.
He was very politically incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And had a humongous temper, and he could back it up.
Mm-hmm.
And one of a kind dude. I like him a lot, man. I was a big Scott Steiner fan. I thought he was incredible when he was young. I'd never seen anybody at that size pull off the moves he could do. Yeah. He was straight up incredible.
Yeah, he made the Hurricanrana look cool.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Bro, one time he grabbed, do you remember Sid Vicious?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've interviewed him before, yeah.
Okay, well, he grabbed Big Sid, and he was standing up with him on the second turnbuckle, okay, facing that way, and he did a moonsault with him and landed on top of him. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. He used to do that. He used to do like the slam, just the and then he used to just do the moonsault from it. He was so agile, man. He was just
who was very agile too, and he was big. Do you remember Two Cold Scorpio?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Bro, that guy's a freak.
Yeah. I remember him WCW and ECW. He was super agile, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Keep it at 100. Let them know about your podcast.
Yo, check out my podcast called Keeping It 100 with myself, my co-host Disco Inferno. And basically it's a podcast where we talk sports, pop culture, politics, wrestling. We review NXT, AEW, Raw, SmackDown, boxing, MMA, everything. Is a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? So you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all major platforms. We're doing incredible numbers right now. And you can check me out on Twitter or Facebook at KONNAN 5150. I chop
one. Just all one thing, no underscore or anything.
Just nothing. Okay. Yeah, Konnan 5150, and I chops it up mostly in English on Twitter and Spanish on Facebook. And thank you very much for having me on your show, bro.
Oh, my pleasure, man. It's been fun. So again, follow him at Konnan 5150. Is that it right there? At Konnan 5150.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. All right, follow my man Konnan. He's going to continue to be a workaholic, continue to produce a lot of the television you see right now. Until next week, I'm Dr. Chris Featherstone. This is Konnan, and we just went unscripted. Have a good night, everybody.